Okay, Mr. Perricone, am I saying your last name right?
Yes, sir. Well
Okay,
done.
I've got you here registered on behalf of yourself testifying for the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
My name is Christopher Perricone. I drove 4 hours up here to speak with y'all. I pray that y'all are never in the position that I've found myself in. I was the elected mayor of Palo Pinto County, and before I tell a short section, from the House floor just 5 years ago, it was listed and said by one of the representatives of this House that it is the most corrupt county in the state. As mayor, I was threatened and said if I continued in politics, I would lose everything I owned, to include my children. I became a whistleblower prior to that threat. That whistleblowing and that threat was followed through by, honestly, with the help of the judges, whom I have not seen my children in 5 years. My testimony would blow your mind if I were to share. But what I'm here to say is the bill that you are addressing, you're trying to hold these accountable, and I am in support of that. But from the side of the analogy that was used before of pitchers and baseball and catchers, us playing on the field, us pro se litigants that are involved in it, we don't have any avenue of recourse. So number one, I am completely opposed to this idea that y'all are going to fine us administratively with complaints. There's already criminal laws on that for someone committing aggravated perjury. You've signed your complaint under penalty of perjury. So let that stand alone. Don't, as we've heard the word many times today, chill the effect of people wanting to bring their complaint. As a whistleblower, I was retaliated against, and I don't have an avenue before it. And I'm terrified to come before an SCJC, which does nothing. 60 years, 27,000 complaints, only 49 of them have ended in any type of reprimand, to include a small little censorship of education. We're talking, the majority of people here are fundamental right violations of their children. Number two, I would suggest on the bonds y'all added for bail, y'all need to expand that and say that the bonds that are issued in family court need to be required. If they're required to follow the promulgated rules of the Supreme Court, then they need to follow 684, because all the bonds, we have no remedy when those bonds are not issued as litigants.
Okay.
I do appreciate y'all's time, and thank y'all for at least taking a look at this.
Mr. Perricone. Your testimony is valuable to us, and we appreciate you being here. Megan LaVoie, have you here on behalf of the Office of Court Administration on the bill. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, good afternoon, Chairman Leach and members. My name is Megan LaVoie. I'm the Administrative Director for the Office of Court Administration, here as a resource on the bill. You've had some great panels of expert witnesses. I look forward to working with this committee and serving as a resource, and happy to answer any questions that you'll have.
Okay. I think you might have a couple questions here in a sec, but Robin, let me go ahead and get your testimony as well. And I know you didn't register to testify, but I've called you to testify. So
That's fine.
You're here on behalf of the Employment Retirement System of Texas, ERS, registered on the bill. Is that okay?
Yes.
That's all right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Robin Hardaway, Director of Customer Benefits with the Employees Retirement System. Thank you, Chairman Leach and members, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have of me.
My first question, Robin, I think that in reviewing the language of the committee substitute further, that there still is work to be done on. I actually don't think that the section relating to legislative retirement linked to judicial base pay, I actually don't think we did what we intended to do at the committee sub. And so what do we need to do going forward to make sure that obviously the goal of this bill is to work on judicial accountability and efficiency, and also to increase judicial compensation. That's
Right.
going to be the aim of this bill. Not in any way, as I said earlier, and I'll state again, we are not going to give ourselves any sort of retirement compensation increase this session. It's not going to happen. How do we do that in this bill?
Yes, sir. I did hear when you were laying out the committee sub that you thought that was not happening in the committee sub, and was able to look at that a little bit, and don't think that is delinking. And we would like to work with you and help you in any way to make that happen in the bill.
Okay, yeah, if you could send some language. Representative
Sure.
Schofield?
Hi, as someone who was accused of filing a bill that raised our pensions when I specifically drafted it not to, and I know it didn't, a member who voted for this bill would actually be voting over time to cut their pension effectively, wouldn't they? I mean, the dollar amount would stay the same over the years as inflation went up. And so just like the $600 a month salary was originally a first-year teacher salary, it now will buy you a couple cups of coffee. We are actually voting not only to not increase our pay, but we're voting to take a hit in order to make sure that our judges are compensated enough that we can recruit people who are good, talented, and willing to do the job.
Yes.
I mean, mathematically, that's how it works, right?
Correct.
It would just be a static, of course, looking at the committee sub and helping with some language on that. From that language, it would just make that retirement benefit just set at a certain dollar amount based on the salary. That would be correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so effectively, I mean, almost immediately, we would be getting less purchasing power for each legislator who's retired. So we're actually voting to cut our pensions in order to make sure that we do the right thing by our judges.
Maintain, yes, you'd be voting to keep it at the same level with no increasing based on salary. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So the Senate bill is not in front of our committee right now, so I'm not going to ask you to testify on that. In fact, I'm gonna punt on my question.
Well, if you might be considering proposing a provision that just so happens to be in another bill, that would be on this bill.
Well, I think the companion to the bill, the original filed version of the bill, would have, correct, resulted in a legislative pension increase. The original filed version of this bill.
No, I think it would still, I think it did not have that in there as well on the original file.
Okay. I think there is a difference between the,
It did.
we obviously need to
The
have it.
original file version. I'm sorry. I've been
Okay.
corrected.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to make very clear that as we go forward and we enter negotiations, we work on further language on this bill, and then we enter negotiations with our counterparts on the other side of this building, that I'm just speaking for me as chairman of this committee, that it would be totally unacceptable to me, and I will not and cannot agree with any sort of legislative compensation or retirement increase. And there might be a difference between the chambers in that regard, but members, just for us to be clear and for those listening in right now, good old Representative Garnett Coleman just walked in. It's so great to see you, my friend. Welcome back. So I just wanted to make that clear. So
Yes.
whatever language we need to work on that ensures that in fact is effectuated, that's what I want to make happen to this
And
bill.
we'll be happy to work with you
Okay,
on that.
thank you. Members, any other questions for Robin or Megan? Okay, we've got work to do and look forward to working with y'all to get it done.